You've seen the ads. We're carbon neutral. Every flight is eco-friendly. Our product helps fight climate change. But what if I told you many of these so-called eco-claims might be nothing more than just a corporate fiction? Today on The Climate Receipt, we're unpacking how major companies try to offset their pollution and why many of these efforts don't actually work. From forest projects that never existed to misleading climate math, let's find out why carbon offsets might be one of the biggest green lies of our decade. Let's start off with the basics. What is a carbon offset? Carbon offsets are a way for businesses to pay someone else to reduce or remove carbon dioxide so they don't have to. Let's say a company emits 1,000 tons of CO2 a year. Instead of cutting that down, they buy carbon credits that supposedly cancel it out by, for example, paying to plant trees or fund renewable energy abroad. In theory, emissions here are balanced by reductions over here. In reality, offsets are a mess. Many are based off of flawed calculations, exaggerated benefits, or environmental projects that were just going to happen anyways. So, who's actually using these offsets? And are they really making a real impact? Let's take a closer look. In 2020, Delta Airlines made headlines by declaring that it would be the world's first carbon neutral airline. They pledged to spend $1 billion over 10 years, mostly by buying carbon offsets to neutralize emissions from their jet fuels. By 2021, Delta claimed to have offset more than 13 million metric tons of CO2. These offsets came from forest preservation, renewable energy credits, and methane capture projects that were all around the world. But not everybody was convinced. In 2023, a California consumer filed a class action lawsuit against Delta, claiming the airline's offsets were based off of flawed data and that its carbon neutral claims were misleading. The lawsuit pointed out that many of Delta's offsets were tied to forest conservation projects in areas that weren't even under immediate threats. Critics called them phantom forests, essentially protecting trees that weren't going to be cut down anyways. Delta has denied any wrongdoing, arguing that lawsuits lack the legal merits. Still, a case continues, and it still shines as a spotlight onto how airlines and other polluters are still utilizing carbon offsets as a public relations tool. But Delta's not alone. Let's zoom out and look at the broader system that enables this, starting with the organizations behind these carbon credits. Many companies rely on third-party organizations to certify their carbon offsets, and the biggest name in the game is Verra. Verra oversees the REDD+ program, which aims to reduce emissions from deforestation and forest degradation. Sounds great, right? Well, not so fast. In 2023, a major investigation by The Guardian and source material found that over 90% of Verra's rainforest offsets had little to no climate benefit. Some projects protected forests that were never actually endangered, while others overstated how much carbon they'd supposedly remove from the atmosphere. In some cases, the promised trees were never even planted, or worse, burned down within a few years. These are the so-called phantom forests, and they've become a symbol of everything wrong with the offset industry. And here's the kicker. Companies like Shell, Disney, Gucci, and yes, Delta have all used these credits to say that they were environmentally responsible. So, if offsets are often flawed or ineffective, why are so many companies still utilizing them? Well, offsets are attractive for corporations for one simple reason. They're cheaper and easier than making real changes. Reducing actual emissions takes time, money, and innovation. Offsetting your pollution? That's just checking off your checkbook. But offsets also let companies market themselves as green, even if they're not cutting emissions at all. That's why we call it greenwashing, using environmental language to brand and cover up business as usual pollution. And the impact goes beyond just branding. It affects us, the consumers. When we see a carbon neutral label on a product or a flight, we're more likely to buy it. We feel good. We think we're helping. But in many cases, it's all just a carefully crafted illusion. So what's the alternative? What does real climate action really look like? If we want to focus on real change, we have to focus on cutting emissions at the source. That means switching to renewable energy, electrifying our transportation systems, designing supply chains that are efficient, ethical, and low waste, and investing in sustainable architecture. Some companies like Patagonia, Allbirds, and Ecosia are actually doing this. They're focusing on reducing emissions first and utilizing offsets only as a last resort. They also publish transparent data and have their sustainability efforts independently verified. So, what can you do as a consumer in all of this? Let's wrap it up. Carbon offsets aren't inherently evil, but they're often used as a shortcut, a way to appear green without actually doing the work. So the next time you hear that a company is saying they're carbon neutral or climate positive, ask the questions. Where are their emissions really going? What offsets are they using? And are they cutting pollution, or are they just outsourcing it? We need more than promises. We need proof. This is the Climate Receipt. Subscribe for more breakdowns on how businesses and environments collide, and let us know in the comments. Which company do you actually think is walking the talk? Thank you.